welcome to Trashy Trashy, where we take a dumpster dive on this week's garbage people and look at all the trashiest news stories. My name is Erica, and I am your host.
My name is Cassandra, and I'm your other host. Or am I? Or are you Erica Curry?
I don't even know anymore.
You guys, we're doing a very special episode this week. I have a not so small obsession with conspiracy theories, not in the way where I am an active member of QAnon, just in the way that when a celebrity conspiracy theory or some kind of goofy conspiracy theory comes up, such as time travelers, I find myself very interested. So we thought this week, in lieu of trashy news stories, I mean, what's trashier than a bunch of celebrity-based conspiracy theories?
Yes, the fun ones, the non-QAnon related ones.
Yes. We're doing fun conspiracies, not like scary, affecting our politics currently. Conspiracies. So rather than why are you trash, Erica, I want to know, what's a conspiracy theory that you legitimately believe in?
Okay, well, okay. So let me also first, like a book report in school.
Uh-huh.
The Oxford English Dictionary defines conspiracy theory as the theory that an event or phenomenon occurs as a result of a conspiracy between interested parties, or a belief that some covert but influential agency, typically political in motivation and oppressive in intent, is responsible for an unexplained event. It also cites a 1903 article in the American Historical Review as the earliest use example, although it also appeared in print for several decades before. The term conspiracy theory itself, though, is the subject of a conspiracy theory, which claims the term was popularized by the CIA in order to discredit conspiratorial believers, particular critics of the Warren Commission, the investigation of the Kennedy assassination, making them the target of ridicule.
Interesting. So certainly the Kennedy assassination, not the first conspiracy theory, but that was the first time that it came up. Like, that's the first time we learned this term.
That it really got really wide with it. It had been, maybe in the late 1800s, early 1900s, that it kind of started floating around in print and had been used. But I think that's when most people around the Kennedy era, was when it really popped off, if you will, in modern terms. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you believe? Give me one that you just are like, I understand these are silly, but this one seems legit.
Yeah, I kind of have two big ones. I would say, kind of two that I would really hold on to. And my first one is tied to the Kennedy assassination. And It's not as fun, but I genuinely believe
part of that is fun.
Not fun, I guess. But I'm a mortal error truther. I believe that I absolutely believe that Oswald fired. I think he was, in the book repository and shot, right? But I think that one of the Secret Servicemen, George Warren Hickey Jr., actually is the one that fired the bullet that did the killing, like that did the damage, the big
there
damage.
Was two.
Yeah, well, there's multiple bullets. Yeah, I mean, that's like the whole, like the magic bullet and all. I mean, that's what the Kennedy assassination is so crazy, and they had to have the Warren Commission. So it's like for Lee Harvey Oswald to have fired off like the 3 shots in the time, this like under 6 second window, they're like, that's fucking impossible, especially for the way the bullets traveled, through Kennedy and the blood spatter and all this shit, and like the ricochet and the way it moved and all this stuff, like it's impossible. But if you look at the footage, so the Secret Service, whose job it is to protect the fucking president, had gone out. This is true. Had gone out like hardcore fucking drinking the night before. Like they just like balls to the wall, like didn't come home till like
Well, it
6
was
o'clock in the morning.
Texas.
It's fucking Texas. What are we gonna do? I mean, it's Dallas,
Sure. Party time.
But like they truly had gone out like crazy drinking the night before. And so like Hickey was like B team and like sucked at his job, kind of. And anyway, it's a whole thing. But basically, they're like, this guy was trying to aim at the shooter, and he accidentally shot Kennedy instead of he took the second shot. And so instead of like, yeah, so yeah, I don't know. That's kind of
All right.
he's one of the, I don't know if it's the second shot, the third, I can't remember the sequences. I think the Secret Service is one of the bullets in Kennedy, and that's why they were like, oh, we lost it. We lost all the stuff, you know, that's why there's all this stuff around like we lost it and all this stuff. And yeah, Hickey, he's unstable because he, you know, he was standing on the cushion of the seat rather than the seat of the floor. It's like it's a whole thing. It's just like, yeah, I think he fucked up and he accidentally shot the president when he was trying to protect him. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna get him too. It was like, I'm not great at my job and I fucked up in my job. And I've never, like, you've never fucked up this big. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I missed a spreadsheet, you know, a comma in a spreadsheet, or, you know, I didn't
Don't you minimize my job that
No,
way.
I'm saying like you like the collective you. I mean, you know, it's like, oh, I didn't get some.
Don't you minimize the listeners' jobs that way.
I'm just saying, like, none of us have shot the president, you know, like that's
fair.
all. So I'm a big, yeah, I think that guy fucked up and shot the president. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's my, and I think Bigfoot's real. And I think, yeah, I like, again, I think Oswald did it. I don't know why Oswald did it, but I think that guy fucked up at his job trying to do the right thing. But I think he fucked up in a big way. And like, it wasn't like, oh, I messed up somebody's sandwich order, or, you know, I got one too few many tires ordered. It's like, I don't know, you shot the president, you know, kind of thing.
A classic story of someone ordering too many tires.
You know what I mean? Yeah, again, it's like he just was just bad at his job. Yeah, bad at his job. But yeah.
All right, fine.
But what's a conspiracy theory you believe?
I think that it's pretty plausible that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know
Well,
what's
what?
cool? You know what's cool about that is that I feel like that unites the left and the right, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but here's the thing. Like, he had enough high-powered relationships to do what he was doing, which was fucking terrible for a very long time with these high-end power people. So all these high-end power people had enough to lose, like, if he was to ever testify or something like that. So the idea that he chose to kill himself before testifying because maybe, like, you know, these Wall Street guys, they kill themselves all the time when it comes to, okay, time to go to jail for all the fucked up shit you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I don't know. There's a guy like him kind of feels like he probably thought that he could get out of jail eventually if he were to pull the strings he needed to pull. So I know there's a couple ways that this theory goes where some people think that, you know, oh, they doctored all the video. I mean, there's like video apparently of him killing himself, but like there's people are saying, oh, you can doctor that, you can do X, Y, and Z, whatever. And people think that he is free and just like in the Caribbean or something. I don't believe that one. I believe that there was a hit of sorts put out on him, and in order to handle that problem.
Yeah, I think it was like the Queen's guys, Trump's guys, Clinton's guys, everybody all showed up at once and was like, do you want to do it? Should I do it? We're all here. We're all going to get paid. As long as
there was a lot of guys. There was a lot of guys. A lot of people in like who really benefited by seeing him not testify. And so now that conspiracy theory, like, you know, g- has like so many legs and became such a meme. That's why they can't do the same thing to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
Can't kill her.
Yeah, it's the only thing keeping her alive.
Yeah, is the fact that everyone was like, I don't think that guy killed himself. Anyways, how about we get into our first conspiracy? I mean, I guess we just talked about some conspiracies, but our first one of the night that we're going to talk about. It's a wonderful one.
I can't wait. First question for you though, before we really get into it.
What?
Were you into Glee?
No, and here's why. Glee is a show about show choir. It came out the year after Glee premiered. Yes,
2009?
May 19th, 2009. I graduated high school in about June 2008. And in high school, I did show choir. So I found myself, I'm almost positive too that they filmed the pilot at my school in Burbank. So I didn't find myself particularly interested in reliving high school show choir. I loved high school show choir, don't get me wrong. I didn't find myself particularly interested in reliving high school at all. I was done with it. So I never got into Glee because of that. But did you?
So I was a little bit older than you, and I can't sing, I can't dance. I was never in show choir, but I've been recently cleaning up my old tweets and Twitter. When Glee premiered, I watched the pilot no less than 5 or 6 times, and this was before there were like DVD. This was hard to do. I watched it at least 5 or 6 times and could recite the plot. Would be like, you should have watched the show Glee, and people are like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. I'm like, no, you have to understand. So then Finn is singing in the shower, and he's the football player, but he has a beautiful voice. And then the choir teacher hears about it. Well, he has a wife, and she's crazy, and she steals. But then the other teachers, I see, I would recite the pilot to people, and they'd be like, fine, I'll fucking watch the show, okay? Like, I was so into. We would have Glee watch parties. I would tweet Glee. We were heavy into Glee.
Okay.
We were Gleeks.
Gleeks.
I mean, the show's insane, but we were real into it. Yeah.
Okay, well, our first conspiracy theory has to do with Glee star Leah Michelle and how allegedly she can't read.
Which is, I mean, it's beautiful. So the theory is she's illiterate. There's a iconic 40-minute video titled Leah Michelle is illiterate, and it was posted in 2018. It has been taken down, but thanks to the power of TikTok, the theory lives and breathes once again. So.
I feel like as we've been doing research for this, most conspiracy theories start with a 40-minute TikTok or a 40-minute, sorry. I feel like most conspiracy theories start with a 40-minute YouTube video. Says so there's 9 key points of evidence in this video that are and this is in TikTok, this is everywhere, that are in favor of Leah Michelle being illiterate. Number 1, Leah Michelle can't read and has to have her lines fed to her because she was a child actor on Broadway and never had time to go to school, which
Okay.
I don't know if that's legal to. Most of those things have like on-set teachers or things like that. So
like equity rules and stuff. Yeah.
That one doesn't seem quite legit. But what's the second one?
So she did the show Spring Awakening for years and years because she only had to memorize it once, and it made it easy for her. So she didn't have to reread new lines.
So not because she liked Spring Awakening or was brilliant in it, but because she already knew the lines. That was okay. Then there's Leah Michelle went to Scream Queens after Glee, both Ryan Murphy shows, because he already knew her illiteracy secret and could feed lines to her.
Wow. On Glee, her character, Rachel Berry, she always sung well-known standards by Barbra Streisand and Celine Dion and never had to read the lyrics.
So because she sang the most popular songs.
Yeah, so it's like everyone knows the lyrics to those.
So these ones, the last few I feel like are a little bit more legit. Leah Michelle never uses her own phone. Her assistants do it for her, backed up by photographic evidence of this happening. Paparazzi's getting people to use celebrities' phones. Like, okay, fine. But that one feels interesting.
Okay. In her Instagram caption, she uses a lot of emojis. if it's just emojis, Michelle wrote it. If it's words with some emojis, someone wrote it for her. But if it's both, someone wrote the words, but let her pick the emojis afterwards.
There's pictures of Leah Michelle signing books, and the pen is not touching the book. It's simply hovering over it, which people think, I mean, she's just posing for a fucking picture.
Great. I think one of the most damning things, though, is that her Glee co-star, Naya Rivera autobiography, touched on the feud that the two had. Leah never responded or addressed it. And people think it's because she never read the book because she's unable to read.
There's like, clips of her on Ellen, like, and they're all playing like word games, and she's like, in reality, she was probably just being lazy and didn't really feel like playing the game, or felt like she was too cool for the game. But people are using that as evidence that she can't read, because they're like, she's not playing the game right. And like, if you could read, you could play this game. So I just think it's funny. It's this, this girl who is on Glee, a cursed show, just can't get a break. And just people say she can't read. But you know what? She's never done anything to prove she can read.
Yeah, if you can read, Leah Michelle, videotape yourself and send it to trashytrashy@gmail.com, trashytrashypodcast@gmail.com, and we'll post on our Instagram exclusively. So there you go. We'll break the story if you can read. We'll send a specific paragraph for you to read.
And you can't memorize it beforehand. That's cheating.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be a unique paragraph to us. Yeah. We'll send it. You'll have to do a live reading. Prove it. We'll post it on our Instagram. We'll break the story. There you go.
Our next conspiracy theory comes to us from the land of California, because California girls, they are incredible. Daisy Dukes, bikinis on top.
Oh, yep.
We're, of course, talking about the alleged fact that Katy Perry is actually JonBenet Ramsey all grown up.
So this video was made over 8 years ago, but it's been making the rounds again lately. And it's that the pop star is actually the pageant princess all grown up.
Of course, JonBenet Ramsey was a 6-year-old girl, pageant queen, who was murdered in her own home. And a lot of the things say that this was all a hoax, illustrated by the Illuminati and Freemasons to make money and to make Katy Perry famous. Whatever.
I mean, so the theory cites, her lyrics, tweets, music videos, even a physical resemblance between Katy Perry and Ramsey's parents. Wardrobe was brought into question, and the eyebrows are the same. And he says, eyebrows don't change much on a person. They're born with your eyebrows, he says, which is absolute bullshit. Like, talk to Anastasia Beverly Hills, talk to anyone born in the 90s, talk to everyone born now with microblading. Like, bitch, eyebrows are like the thing you can change one of the most. Like,
yeah, you can definitely change that. And also, comparing Katy Perry's clothes as a pop star to a 6-year-old pageant queen, that's just something we got to bring up with Katy Perry's stylist. But yeah, they said that they set up this hoax so that their little girl would grow up to be a star that was renamed Katy Perry. And the video gets a little aggressive. This guy kind of gets amped up and starts telling people, that JonBenet Ramsey became Katy Perry. That is a fact. So if any of you continue to lie about this person dying, you are a false witness to a murder. That's a fact. You got to love when the conspiracy theories start putting out laws.
Yes. Yeah. Man, this same YouTuber has since claimed that the Civil War was a hoax, and that he's tried to rip the lid off of 9/11 and claimed that somehow Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the same person. And now that they are both possessed by the same demon.
Yeah, so this guy's maybe not a very credible source.
Not the beacon of truth?
No, go figure. Speaking of celebrities being dead,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love this one.
I am very into this one. Yeah.
Avril Lavigne is actually dead and has been replaced by a body double named Melissa Vandella.
Yeah. So she allegedly died in 2003, shortly after the release of her successful debut studio album, Let Go, and was replaced by a body double named Melissa Vandella.
There's evidence to support the theory, including changes in Lavigne's appearance between 2003 and the present, subliminal messaging in her follow-up effort Under My Skin, and a photo shoot in which Lavigne has the name Melissa written on her hand. Here's what I don't get is, let's say this is true.
Mhm.
Why would you put a bunch of Easter eggs everywhere for people to figure it out?
Mhm.
What do they have to gain? You know, if these kinds of things were true, wouldn't this just be the biggest secret ever and they wouldn't put little breadcrumbs for people to figure it out?
Right, right. That's what I'm like, why? And it's like, and if you do figure it out, is there some just like, oh, you win the prize?
So, they say that her 2002 Let Go album came out, she got overwhelmed with the fame, success, her grandpa died, and that she committed suicide. And that this body double, who was originally hired to distract paparazzi because Avril was very reclusive, that her record label was like, let's teach her how to sing and perform like Avril so that we can keep making money.
Mm. Okay. Well, I don't know. You know, this reminds, I can't believe we have not talked of. Are you familiar with with the theory that Lady Gaga is actually basically murdered a fellow musician and stole her identity?
I haven't heard that one actually.
Yes. Okay. Lady Gaga. There was a fellow musician back in the day when she was getting her start named Lena Morgana. And so she was behind her death and then stole her identity. And so she had been scouted by the same agent as Lena, and they actually worked on a song called Wonderland. So while Gaga actually was ended up signed by Interscope Record, Lena tragically fell to her death on the roof of a Staten Island hotel when she was just 19 years old. But the claim is that Gaga was behind this tragedy and then took her identity and her outrageous stage persona and all of this, all this stuff. And that the song Paparazzi shows the singer, is a reference to the singer falling from the balcony and all this stuff. But, it can't be true because Lady Gaga was actually in Los Angeles at the time of her death in New York and all this stuff. But yeah.
Also,
but
there's ways to steal people's stage personas and all that shit without killing them. You just do it.
Yeah, you just do it.
You just do it and you try to do it better and then you win.
Yeah. But yeah, check out Lynn Morgana Wonderland featuring a young Lady Gaga. It's very interesting. Yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of being young, our next theory is about Lorde, the singer from New Zealand, saying that she is actually in her 40s.
I love this kind of thing. Very orphan. Yeah.
It's everyone is doing Lorde so fucking dirty, by the way, because it's almost all based on how she looks. And look, do we all think that Lorde doesn't look 24? Yes. Have we all thought that Lorde kind of looked a little old for a 19-year-old? Yes. But these thoughts, she's a young woman. Who cares that she writes mature songs?
She's from New Zealand. It's a deeper culture. She didn't have the whimsy of America and she's got real shit on her mind.
Billie Eilish writes deep songs too, but nobody accuses her of being older, and it's because she looks very young.
Yeah, that's fair.
This was a reporter from Jezebel, Emma Carmichael, offered New Zealand the $17.02 that it costs to get copy of Lord's birth certificate, and she didn't get the birth certificate. What she got was many typed letters onto a page claiming that she was born in 1996, although they did find out later that that's just what birth certificates look like in New Zealand.
Great. 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 I love it. It just feels shitty, when Vanity Fair's Julie Miller asked her about her age, Lord jokingly replied, "Hi, I'm Ella. I'm actually 45."
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah. And Beyonce was actually engulfed in a similar age-related scandal once, according to the website The Independent.
Yeah, we didn't focus on any Beyonce conspiracy theories, but as I was looking up all this stuff, I realized that people have questioned Beyonce's age, saying that she's older than she says she is, and also that there's like a conspiracy theory that Solange is her daughter that she had when she was 13. But her parents like really wanted her to continue to focus on her career, so they just raised Solange as her sister instead. Who
Mhm.
knows? Like,
I know.
just leave people alone. Leave Britney alone.
Leave Britney alone. But we're obviously going to talk about this theory involving Britney from the past. So
Yes, there is a conspiracy theory that Britney Spears was a government operative for George W. Bush. BT Dubs, did you know that Vice.com has a big banner on the top of their website that will let you know if an article is over 5 years old?
yes, I have. I've actually been reading a bunch of older Vice articles, and they're like, "Hey, this article's 8 years old." So
That's
yeah,
pretty cool of them.
Yeah, very cool. They're like, "Hey, just because you're probably not very media literate."
We're going to let you know that this wasn't from 2016. But anyways, so there's a conspiracy theory that Britney Spears and George W. Bush were working together.
I mean, all right, from 9/11 truthers to FEMA coffins at Katrina and, all this stuff, everyone's got something to be suspicious of in the early aughts, but the rise of the 24-hour news cycle certainly did not help matters. But one theory rose that the Bush administration was using this gaping news to its advantage. So yes, so the scuttlebutt with Britney Spears and her events, they say that someone in her camp might have been on the Bush's payroll as a professional thirst trap. This is according to the article, not our words or opinions. So.
Right. Yeah. So there's a timeline that kind of puts together big things that happened in Bush's presidency and, like things that were also happening with Britney Spears. We don't have to go over all of them, but there was Bush crony blew the cover of a CIA agent, and that led to a bunch of bullshit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And coincidentally, around the same time, Britney married her childhood friend in Las Vegas, and it was annulled 52 hours later. So, people didn't really care about this CIA thing. In fact, I'd never heard of it.
The only thing I knew was that it inspired the Matthew Broderick's character from 30 Rock, but because I was a big 30 Rock head, but I didn't know the whole guffaw, I guess.
Yeah, I just thought they made that up, and I was like, this seems believable.
Yeah, true. And so, yeah, in April 2006, Bush's approval rating was at an all-time low of 38%. And then Britney was seen driving her infant son, Sean Preston, in her lap rather than in a car seat. Later, child welfare officials and the sheriff's department investigated the story that Sean was injured in a fall from his high chair, and people were conveniently stopped talking about their awful presidential overlord and, talked about Britney Spears for a while.
The day before a midterm election in 2006, which Republicans were about to lose a lot of Senate seats and House seats, Britney Spears announced that she was going to get divorced from Kevin Federline. A lot more interesting than a midterm election.
And February 2007, Bush announces the reformation of Al Qaeda.
Al Qaeda?
I was saying it the way Bush said it, I thought.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I was like, damn, Erica, you're Oklahoma as hell.
And that same night, Britney Spears snuck out of rehab, shaved her head, and attacked a paparazzi van with an umbrella.
So all that is to say, some people were a little suspicious. There's some videos about Britney Spears. She was saying, like, praising the Bush administration at one point. And coincidentally, all that drama dried up around 2008 when Bush wasn't in office anymore. However, that also was around the time that her conservatorship started. And she wasn't given freedom. And she became a prisoner. So who knows?
But was that also strategic? Who knows? Who knows?
I don't know. Either way, Britney's been getting done dirty.
She wasn't put into that conservatorship in a lawful manner. So, how did the wheels get greased? That's
How
all
high does it go?
Yeah. How low does it go? How cold can it get?
Ooh, good transition to our next one.
Is Walt Disney on ice?
A fantastic conspiracy theory about Walt Disney being cryogenically frozen. Why people have done this, I don't know, but he died at 65. He was one of the world's most beloved storytellers and also a major Nazi. Well,
Union busting Nazi.
Was he a Nazi or did he just hate the Jews?
More, I think a Jew hating, union busting, racist.
Right.
I don't think he was outright a Nazi.
Sure, of course. My bad.
Yeah. I think the Nazis were too organized for him in that sense. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah.
So there's a early 1967, a few weeks after Walt Disney's death on December 15th, 1966, a reporter for a tabloid called the National Spotlight claimed that he had snuck into St. Joseph's Hospital in Burbank, directly across the street from the Disney studios, where he was being treated during his final illness. And the reporter disguised himself as an orderly, broke into a storage room, and saw Disney, deceased, in a cryogenic metal cylinder. And then 1969, this French magazine advanced the rumors. They were saying that he would be thawed out by 1975, and someone is far to claim that his burial spot was in the freezer stored underneath the Pirates of the Caribbean.
I like to think that his final resting place is actually it's a mobile spot, and it's as they do the ice capades, Disney on Ice. It's just he tours the country one last time and goes to small state fair arenas. I went to Disney on Ice almost every year growing up, so I would like to think I've seen Walt one last time.
So maybe this guy was in a little bit connection with the fact that like Disney was, pretty openly a science fan. Like you've got Epcot and Futureland and all this kind of shit. Some people thought that it was a little sus that the last film that he produced, that he was ordering the cameras to roll as he addressed the department heads one last time at his desk, kind of, because he knew he was dying. And then like later, like he was, there's like things where he was making eye contact with colleagues, telling him that he expected great things in their future and they hoped to see them soon and stuff. And so people were like, oh, because he thinks he's going to come back in 10 years and work with them again.
I think that's just like stuff you say when you kind of know you're when you're at peace and you're like, we're going to do great things. When you have a legacy, you're like, we're going to do great things. All that stuff. I think that's just more, I don't want to give it to him, but I think that's more just like legacy building and kind of comforting those around you. And
sure. There's no evidence at all for this one. There's not even people outside of this one guy saying that he broke into that hospital and saw him in a closet. There's no evidence on this at all. So this one is probably very easily, it ain't true. He's buried at Forest Lawn, also very close to Walt Disney Studios.
Are you going to give up the Disney money and say it is true? Are you going to give up your Disney inheritance and be like, oh yeah, for sure Dad is? It's the best way to get out of the will. I don't know. Maybe I'm a truther on this one.
Wow.
I mean,
if anyone could have done it, it could have been him. Because what's it cost? Like, what's a big deal if they just freeze someone? It's not like it's going to work. I don't think that technology that they've made it work yet.
No.
Only in
No.
Austin Towers.
Yeah, exactly. You know what it costs to clone a cat right now?
What?
It's about $35,000.
Why is that so cheap? For some reason,
What?
for some reason,
It should be like $6,000.
Erica, absolutely not. To clone a cat, I feel like that should be 6 million.
No, what? No.
What do you need to clone a cat for? There's other cats.
So that Charlie and McCoy can live forever?
But it's not them. It's a clone of them.
No, it's them forever. That's what the website says. It's like, it's just a genetic replica. They're still nurture and you still have to, it's the environment that you provide for them. It's I don't know. I did some research recently on cat. I watched a documentary and that was like a footnote of one of the people that's like, oh, by the way, she resurfaced in the 90s because she was cloning her dog. It was like, that wasn't even the crazy part. That was just like the by the way at the bottom kind of thing.
Barbara Streisand cloned her dogs. That was a big deal.
Yeah. Doesn't Martha Stewart clone her dogs? Don't quote me on that. Anyway, people have too much fucking money. But I think 35,000, it's like 50,000 to clone a horse.
Well, it's bigger.
It's the same shit. It's the same. Yeah, I'm just saying, it's one price fits all. You come down to Erica's big old house of cloning, one price fits all. You want a person, a gerbil, a horse, an elephant, one price fits all. Cloning, you know what I mean? Erica's bargain basement cloning.
It's gonna be a no from me. Hey, you know who we don't have to worry about getting frozen?
Yeah, or clone, because evidently they're gonna live forever.
There are some major rumors out there that Keanu Reeves and Nick Cage are vampires. Now, y'all know I love a time traveler, and there's a lot of theories that Nicolas Cage might be a time traveler or a vampire because there's they just like look a lot like these people in Civil War era. Like there's old pictures and they're like, that's Nicolas Cage, as if these two white men just maybe look like the same white men in history.
Yeah. But there's also a photo from this like Mexican history book of a Mexican emperor, Emperor Maximiliano Habsburgo from the 1864. So brother of Franz Joseph of something I can't read all the book, but something of Austria. That's looks a little cagey. He looks like Nick Cage.
Same deal with Keanu Reeves.
Yes. There's actually a website dedicated to it. The website is just keanuisimmortal.com.
So they are saying he was Charlemagne or he was Paul Monet, you know, like these old people that, or these past history people that just he looks so much like them. And they're also just talking about the fact that Keanu Reeves is, you know, very, very nice. Everyone knows it's an open secret. Keanu Reeves is super fucking nice. And a lot of people think only that kind of kindness can come from a long and wise life. Thus, he must be a vampire.
Yeah, he's actually even been quoted as saying, money is the last thing I think about. I could live on what I've already made for the next few centuries. He's given away 50 million pounds out of the 70 he made from the Matrix sequels. Wow, wow, wow.
Well,
I kind of like it. I don't know. I don't know if they aren't, but
these men are aging, for just so that everyone's clear.
Are they?
Like they're very wealthy men, so they might be aging better than us, but like he is aged.
Money is the best lotion. Yeah. I would say Keanu less than Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, I feel like, has aged more than Keanu Reeves.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Although Keanu Reeves, I mean, he might have also just grown a beard.
Yeah, that's how he gets away with it. Yeah. We all die and he just jumps into another thing. He might be a scientist and 50 to 100 years and we're all gone. We don't remember that he was this actor, you know?
Nah, he's older. He's older. He's old. He's got to be older. All right. All right. We got our next one.
The doozy.
It's a doozy. It's weird because it's like sometimes the Kardashians they have things happen to them that make me want to sympathize. But then I remember like that they're part of a bigger machine and that they're in control of a lot of this stuff and the narratives that happen around them. And then I lose my sympathy. But this one almost makes me feel sad.
What are things that make you feel bad for the Kardashians? Name some of those things.
I think that the way that Khloe Kardashian's been treated, like by the media forever, makes me feel sad for her. I mean, this girl can't catch a break. So this is the conspiracy theory, is that OJ Simpson is actually Khloe Kardashian's real father rather than
not Robert. Yeah.
Not Robert Kardashian. But, a lot of it, again, just like the Lord story, a lot of it has to do with what she looks like. And, so she's always been under scrutiny for her looks because everyone, doesn't think that she's as pretty as her sisters and blah, blah, blah. So this poor woman has now her face just filled with fillers and plastic surgery to look more like her sisters, who society has deemed, and her mother probably has deemed, like, are prettier than her. She's lost tons of weight. She is in relationships with terrible men who treat her terribly, who cheat on her constantly. I mean, she ran a show called Revenge Body. Obviously, this woman is more insecure in ways and levels that we will never, ever understand. And I wouldn't necessarily wish on my worst enemy. I understand she's very, 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 very rich. I understand that.
Absolutely. No, I agree with everything that you said, but she's also hasn't just said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to opt out I'm just going to fuck off to Monaco and not participate in media at all anymore.
I don't know that she has an option.
She does. She could. She chooses to not. She could just be like one of the fucking princesses or prince, that's just like, oh no, I'm just not gonna, no, you just won't hear from me, or no, you'll just never know I'm around.
No, I mean, she would have to tell off her she would lose her whole family if she did that. I think that you're underestimating the devil works and Kris Kardashian works harder. I don't think that she has the free will that we might think that she does.
Yeah. So it's so fucking toxic. And I know, but I'm just saying she does have a choice, but she would lose the public. She would lose the media, but she would also lose that family. But is that family the supportive thing that she needs in her life? Is that the best thing for her?
If it's all you know, especially if you find out that your real dad is OJ Simpson.
Yeah, but I know, but get some therapy and just be like, oh, these people are not the thing, that are not the supportive frames for me.
The therapists that she has access to are like the kinds of fucking people that were helping Marilyn Monroe. Everyone's got their hands in the same pockets.
I know.
We'll talk about Marilyn Monroe. I'm just saying, I feel bad pretty frequently for Khloe Kardashian. Do I follow her on Instagram? Absolutely not, because she was supporting Kanye West's fucking presidential career and all this kind of. I don't like these people. I feel sympathy. So in 2013,
yes,
Ellen Pearson, who was Robert Kardashian's ex-wife, was the one who came out and said that Robert Kardashian confessed that Khloe was not his biological daughter shortly before his death. She didn't identify who the real father was, but right after, Kim and Khloe slammed their one-time stepmom for sharing ridiculous stories about their family in order to make a quick buck. And this woman was like, I'm simply stating the truth, their father's truth. So, Khloe, who can't catch a fucking break, has commented on this, and she was like, I don't know, I'm willing to do paternity stuff.
Also, just kind of fuck you, Ellen. Pull Khloe aside, write her a letter,
Yeah.
But like this is very media and attention seeking. Like that's not the way to go about something like that. Like that's
she
not father's
told this
truth.
woman
That's not
off.
Chloe's truth. What? Go ahead.
She told this woman off.
Yeah, but again, that's just these are private matters. I don't care if you're famous. Like these are things where it's like pick up the fucking phone, write her a letter. Like these are not. Regardless, she's the child in this situation. You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
1,000 feet back. Like even if Chloe's 40, 60, she's still the child of this situation. Like don't do this. You know.
Yeah. So Chris said that this isn't true. Chloe's mom, and she did say that she had an affair when she was married, but denied that it was with OJ, and that Chloe looks exactly like Robert's grandmother. So, like she looks like she's a Kardashian and everything is okay. OJ even said that that's not true in his weird way. uh, his very OJ Simpson way of saying, "Trust me, I had nothing to do with it. I would be proud if I had anything to do with it, but I don't." Like literally how he talks about the murdering of his wife.
Right.
I didn't do it, but if I would have, this is how.
Didn't he say something like, I can't go back to California because what if I run into the guy that killed my wife?
Something like that. Like a mirror?
Yes. Also, I don't know. I feel like Chris might just be like silently siphoning OJ money to be like, keep saying this. Like, I don't know why. That's allegedly. Like, I can just see that happening.
Yeah. So, anyways, and I'm sorry, I read something wrong. She is not willing to take paternity tests. My apologies, listeners. I read something incorrectly. But let's get back to another person, with some death theories. This time it's the opposite though. No one thinks that this person is dead, and that itself is the theory.
Yeah, let's get into it. Oh.
We've all heard it. Tupac is still alive.
Yeah, so what is the story they want us to believe?
The story that they want us to believe is that Tupac was riding shotgun in a car with Suge Knight, pulled up to a stoplight, and then in a drive-by, he got shot a bunch of times. And then he died in the hospital about 6 days later.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. But moments before the incident, a fan captured a picture of Tupac and Knight in the car, which would be known as the final picture of Tupac ever taken. However, the picture itself raises questions. There seems to be no keys in the ignition, even though the two were supposedly stopped at a light. Also, the picture is dated September 8th, 1996, but Tupac was shot and admitted to the hospital on September 7th, 1996.
Now, kids, back then, we had to take pictures on film, and very frequently, the film camera would put the date right there on your picture. Or sometimes, if it was like more expensive, it would say it on the back a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I guess if it was really cheap, it wouldn't put the date at all. So, big ups to this person with their fancy film.
Yeah. The official coroner report of his death listed him at 215 pounds, 50 pounds heavier than what he actually was. Tupac was typically around 165 pounds, which for the 5'9" male was in good shape and was much more reasonable than the 215 pounds. So this added a little fuel to the fire. Like, did the Emmy make a mistake? Or there is also more controversy around his autopsy, which has not been made available to anyone.
His autopsy is kept hush-hush, and no one has been able to find the person who cremated him. Suge Knight claims that he paid a man $3 million in cash to cremate Tupac, and then the man proceeded to disappear, which I have bad news for Suge Knight. I don't believe cremation costs that much. And I also don't think that you're supposed to pay someone in cash to do so.
This is I feel like what I'm saying is more dangerous than coming after T Swift or BTS, but I'm just gonna say that in life, I feel like Suge Knight has not always been the most honorable of intentions or the most reliable of narrators.
Absolutely. And by the way, Suge Knight, he has since claimed that Tupac is alive. He is one of the big people who is constantly saying, "Oh yeah, Tupac, he's alive." But I don't think he would say this if people weren't questioning it, because you're right. He's not really the most reliable narrator.
And again, Tupac, this is a comedy. I mean, fuck. And Suge Knight, this is a a comedy podcast, and Erica Curry and Cassandra Cardenas are fake names. Like these aren't even our real name. Don't even like Google us or look us up. Like these are like fake characters that we do. Like this is all in jest, and we don't mean anything by that.
You are a reliable narrator. You are.
And have always been our favorite. Always been our favorite.
Yes,
And
Death
we believe
Row.
everything that you've ever said. So
Yes. Not a great guy though. I'm
No,
sorry.
I gotta edit that out.
I don't want to be on record saying that I think that Suge Knight's an awesome dude. I don't think he is.
No, I bet like now I have like the sweat diarrhea.
Is whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. There's a lot of nods to all this with like his final album, the Don Killuminati, the 7-Day Theory. It was released under the alias Machiavelli. The nod to Niccolo Machiavelli, who was an Italian philosopher that Tupac studied closely. Machiavelli lists many ways to stay ahead of your enemies, which Tupac had no shortage of. So many believe that these writings are what inspired Tupac to fake his own death. There's also cover art of Tupac nailed to a cross, which, if you know anything about Jesus, he dies and then he comes back. I do think, though, because see, this is the same thing with the Disney thing. It's like, how long do you wait before you come back if you fake your own death,
Right.
I mean, at this point, it's like the taxes,
Oh, yeah, the taxes alone. Well, allegedly, a Las Vegas police officer is claiming he was paid $1.5 million to cover up and help stage the death.
Okay, well, apparently he wasn't paid enough because he told people.
I guess, but he said that he, it was Suge Knight, 30 people, including paramedics, other cops. He also said that, Tupac used a $50,000 body double to stand in for him at the morgue. That's why the autopsy weights didn't weigh the same. All this stuff. But the cop's name is, we won't say it on record. But there's a whole thing. But yeah.
I just want to say this before we get into what I suppose will be our dumpster fire of sorts, our black hole of truth. There's a thing about conspiracy theories that it was really interesting that it was about the moon landing specifically. Of course, a very famous conspiracy theory that the moon landing didn't happen and that it was filmed by Stanley Kubrick, where the way that humans work and human psyche and human ability to keep secrets and things like that, that for the amount of people that it would have taken to film the moon landing and just how shitty people are at keeping secrets, that it would have only taken 3 years before people found out the truth, the moon landing. That like there's too many people involved for that to possibly be true, or there's too many people involved in the filming process for that to possibly be true. And so there's a few of these where it's like, you're telling me that all these people, like in this one, if anything, is the most believable one, because Suge Knight and all these fucking people are saying, yeah, he's alive. Like I did this and I did this. And it's, the ones that have no random ass people claiming things is like, those ones to be really unbelievable because it just takes too long. It takes too many people to keep a secret, and people can't do it. Like they go home and they tell their wife or they tell their brother or they tell whomever. It gets out eventually. So if you weren't already, take everything we've said with a grain of salt.
I mean, 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. You know what I mean? Like that's the way that works. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing.
And two
Uh,
can
uh,
keep a
and the
secret if
2
one
of
is
them.
dead.
The thing about the
Civil
moon
War.
landing too, the faking of the moon landing, which is kind of like the big one in a lot of ways, is that the craziest thing is we didn't have the we didn't have the type of camera at that time to be able to fake that kind of thing. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'll post. Like, we didn't have the kind of cameras that we could have faked it at that thing.
What kind of
So
cameras do you need to fake it?
I'll send you an article. That's the thing that finally, guys. I used to be a moon landing truther. I used to think we faked the moon landing for years. Like Winston's grandpa, my partner's grandfather, worked at NASA, helped put a man on the moon, like worked with the Apollo astronauts, was a aeronautical safety engineer, all these things. And like, we almost broke up several times over
You and
this.
Winston did?
Yes. It would be big fights about it. But the thing is, the cameras, I finally broke like the cameras and like what it would have taken to have faked something like that didn't exist at this time. I'll send you an article about it. It was the cameras that finally made me convince him, and the fact that he's like, if you look my grandfather in his fucking eye and tell him the moon landing's fake. Anyway, so yeah. But now I'm no longer. I believe we landed on the moon. I'm with us.
So for our black hole of the week,
The black hole of the week.
we're going to talk about, I brought her up before, we're going to talk about Miss Marilyn Monroe. Very sad story. Died when she was 36. I don't think that it's conspiracy to admit that she was on a lot of substances, a la Michael Jackson, in the sense of these celebrity doctors and celebrity psychiatrists and therapists and producers and things, all kind of a la Britney Spears, even kind of just running these people ragged because of how much money they make and not really taking care of these people.
Mm-hmm.
So Marilyn Monroe was 36 years old when she died, and the official statement was that she overdosed on drugs, body surrounded by pills, etc., etc. But we have some theories on some other, maybe really why she died.
Yeah. So theory number 1 was that she was killed by Robert Kennedy to cover up their affair.
Yeah, so Marilyn Monroe, there's the allegedly was in an affair with John F. Kennedy. We talked about him earlier, but also probably more famously and probably more credibly was in a relationship with Robert Kennedy. But she also might have been in a relationship with both of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Happy birthday, Mr. President. I never understood why that was sexy.
did you see I mean, when you see the dress and the nude illusion that it gave,
I know why she's sexy.
oh, okay.
I don't know what men are getting by very slow, breathy singing, because it's like almost awkward. Like maybe it's because it feels like it should be private.
I think it feels like it should be private, and when you're out of breath, it reminds him of other things.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's why we wear blush and our makeup in certain ways, because it reminds of
everything we do is looking like we're fucking.
Yes, it's fucking disgusting. Our whole culture is disgusting. It's gross.
Okay, so sorry, did you say she was killed to cover up the affair? Did you say all this other extra stuff?
No. So basically might have gotten too attached, and he had her murdered to protect his career. So it was brought forth by right-wing crackpot Frank A. Capel in 1964. He accused the Kennedys and several other people who knew Monroe of being communist spies. Ugh.
Theory number 2, killed by Robert Kennedy. So that's 2 for him. About knowing too much just about everything, so she kept it says that she kept a diary filled with incriminating information that she overheard from the Kennedys. And then Robert Kennedy killed her when he found out. The theory also managed to shoehorn notorious Union leader and Kennedy foe Jimmy Hoffa. What's crazy is one time I read a book about Marilyn Monroe, and everything seemed legit about the book until the end, where the like it was literally a biography about Marilyn Monroe. Everything was on par and in the line, and then the very end, this author was like, and then the mob sent by Robert Kennedy came in and injected her with drugs under her toenail. And I was like, genuinely thought that that's how she died for a while. It was like something like this, where Robert Kennedy or whatever, it's started to jump ahead, but this next theory again, was that Robert Kennedy didn't kill her per se, but staged her death as a suicide because it was very open that she was, addicted to drugs and stuff, but that she was like maybe trying to get better, and Robert and John Kennedy were not they were enabling her to keep doing more and more drugs. So then when, she accidentally OD'd and died on the way to the hospital, they were like, no, she just killed herself. We didn't give her the drugs.
Yeah. And director J. Edgar Hoover helped stage her death as a suicide. And then J. Edgar Hoover tried on a bunch of her dresses and made himself feel pretty.
Is that part of it?
No, that's me, because I'm being a shithead. Because there's a whole he had a big vendetta against homosexuals and kept a confidential and secret file on the sex lives of congressmen and Kennedy and presidents. But according to a lot of his biographers, he had numerous trysts with men, including a longtime affair with somebody named what was the guy? Tolson or something like that. And so I was anyway. Hooger sucked, man. But yeah, my dad thinks Jimmy Hoffa, the mafia guy, we never
the leader of the Teamsters.
Leader of the Teamsters is that they fed his body to pigs because they've never found it, and pigs will eat down to bone, man. He thinks they just fed him to a bunch of pigs one day.
I forgot about that one. That's a whole other thing about everyone wondering where his body is buried, and I think it's in football stadiums, whatever.
Oh yeah, fun stuff.
We have another theory that she was killed by the CIA in order to hurt the Kennedys. They were, killing her to get Robert Kennedy back because of the invasion of the Bay of Pigs disaster. That one seems a little bit far-fetched, that the CIA would try to hurt the Kennedys in that way. But the next one seems a little bit more on brand.
Yeah. So she might have been killed by the mafia to hurt the Kennedys. So the book Double Cross claims that Monroe was murdered by the Chicago mafia boss Sam Giancana. Giancana.
Whatever, some mob boss.
So sorry to every Italian ever. Going back to the Romans. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they said that they killed her in order to get Robert Kennedy to fuck off because the Kennedys are real strong against the mob. It's crazy, this era of movie stars and stuff, and how involved in the mob they were.
I mean, just follow the money. The mob's still involved in the fucking I mean, let me start it. Let me see that on
It's like
record.
Frank Sinatra, like just that deeply involved with the mob. Like he was just.
I think he was more like he wanted to be. I think he was more like I think he was more like, I'm so cool. Look at me. I'm with the gun. I don't think he was like out whacking guys, but I think he was just like he wanted to be like a mascot and a buddy and like a team. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess. So this next theory was that this was a cover up by her doctor. So this had nothing to do with the Kennedys, but that her death was an accidental overdose, which has happened because Monroe lied to two of her doctors about the medication that she was on, and they were afraid of the possible consequences. So they said that she had killed herself, and they got the help of her housekeeper, who was also on the payroll of all these guys. That
mhm.
one feels more in the realm of,
Yeah.
yeah, one might be fucking true. Look, I feel like a lot of these might be true, except the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, you know what? No, this one I might hold on to a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
What is it?
So the last one reads, she was going to expose the truth behind UFOs. So it emerged in 2007, courtesy of Gizmodo, the fucking journalism of our times. So it's the strangest, but Dr. Stephen Greer, the subject of the documentary Unacknowledged, claims that Moreau was killed by the government because she was threatening to leak classified information about extraterrestrials.
Why would she have it?
Because she's fucking sleeping with the kid. Like she's sleeping with the president. He's just like, oh, you want no, hold on. He's doing hey, you want to know what really happened? No, fuck. What is the Kennedy?
Do you want to know about aliens?
Area 51, Maryland. Area 51. Like, yeah.
Wow, we crushed those Kennedys.
You're fucking nailing this one. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
Either way, it's very sad. A very famous 36-year-old woman died because she had very little control over her life.
Yeah.
So
manipulated, plagued with mental health and all sorts of stuff and abused from an early age. And
we see it too often.
Yeah.
So that was fun. What a different little episode we did.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going so long. So we very quickly.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear hoarding.
Okay, so I'm hoarding a series on HBO, and I feel like we have to get into this. Maybe we'll do a bonus coverage on it, but it's called The Anarchist.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard of this?
It sounds familiar. I haven't watched it though.
Okay, so it's about these fucking nerds. So it's these anarchists in the sense of like crypto anarchists, where we hate government regulations. I mean, sure, we'll use cell phones and we're all YouTubers and we still drive on roads and shit, but they go down to Acapulco, Mexico, and they're hella into crypto from like 2015, 2016 on, and they're doing conferences. They do conventions. So they're like, we're anarchists, but come to our yearly convention. And it's like, that's not how any of this fucking works. And they're intentional unschoolers where they like don't let their kids go to school or give them birth certificates.
Is this a documentary?
It's a documentary. It's a 6-part documentary.
I hate these people.
There's every person on screen. You're just like, I fucking hate you more. I hate you more.
Oh man.
Every single one of them, you're like, and he's like, well, we have a convention. And it's like, you fucking nerd. And then he's like, our convention was growing bigger. But then she was taking over the organizing of the convention. And it made me mad because it was my thing. And it's like, you're an anarchist. Like, what? And then it's like, crypto would be up and they'd be like, we were living the high life. And then it was like, crypto would drop down to $6 of, Bitcoin. And they'd be like, there was no money. It was so funny.
Oh
it's so, but it's dark. And it's like, oh, someone was dealing drugs in fucking Mexico. And then somehow something happened. And it's like, yeah, you went on their turf, you dumb fucking Americans. It's insane. You have to watch it. It's so good. But they're like crypto anarchists. Like they're capitalists. They're crypto capitalists, which makes no sense. It makes no sense what they believe in. They're just like, we don't want the US taxes. So these fucking nerds. Anyway, that's what I'm hoarding. What are you hoarding?
Israeli couscous.
Yes.
Delicious.
Yes. It's so good.
Are you in the mood for quinoa or regular couscous, but want to spice it up a little? Get some Israeli couscous. It's just bigger. It's fucking awesome.
Delightful.
It's not my first time having it, but I had it for dinner last night and yum, yum, yum. That's all.
Love it. Love
What are
it.
you throwing out?
Okay, I'm throwing out you racist Game of Thrones fans, you A Song of Ice and Fire fucking nerds. Okay. All right, so House of the Dragon came out. Yes?
Yeah.
So there's a character, Lord Corlys Valyrian. And I've only read the books. I don't know all these characters' fucking pronunciations, some of their names, so forgive me. Corlys Valyrian, who is the husband of Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, right? The king in the king's sister who got passed over for being on the crown, on the Iron Throne, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her husband, he's played by a British actor of Barbadian descent, and he's black. So his family is also from Valyria. And so what they're trying to like the Valyria, like the place that has been doomed, and that's where the Targaryens all came from, because Aegon and his sisters came over with the dragons, conquered Westeros, except for Dorne wouldn't kneel. But they said, oh hey, we conquered you because we have dragons and you fucking nerds don't.
Girl.
Again, we're in a land with dragons. None of this shit's real. People in Valyria have pale skin, light hair, blue eyes, whatever. Well, his people, they had to show he's also from this whole other side of the world, but came over too. But they're like, oh, but they're not the same. They're not brother and sister. The Targaryens interbreed. They don't. How are we going to show that? Oh, we'll have this extremely talented black actor play him, but he has white hair. Cool. Same connection. Same. His whole people are seafaring people. His whole family, that's their big thing. His name is the Sea Snake, like named after his ship. So I'm sure his people have intermingled with, the Summer Island people. I mean, they've been fucking on the seas for years, intermingling with people from Essos and all sorts of lands. It's not a big deal that this character is black. These fucking racist nerds on every forum and Twitter are losing their goddamn mind that he's black. Like, it makes me so angry. It's a show with dragons. Genetics don't work. Like George R.R. Martin has said, oh, DNA and genetics don't work the same way in our world. Like, pale skin is a dominant gene, wouldn't be the dominant in, our world. Not the same shit. Like, it just makes me so.
It's also made up.
It's made up. It's all made up.
Everything that you just said is made up.
All made up. All this weird nerd shit that I just spouted. And no, chill your fucking book, you nerds. Like, quit being racist. It means nothing. Like, they just wanted to show she's married to this person, also from the old world, whole different family brand, like totally different family descent and house. Not a big deal. He still has the white hair of these people. Totally different. Calm your fucking jets, you racist. Anyway, that's what I'm throwing out. Just it's again a made up world with dragons. Calm down, Anyway, that's all. Quit being racist.
Okay.
Throwing it out. Sorry. Cool. Anyway, he tried to bring dragons to Westeros. I mean, elephants to Westeros. He was elephants, those are dope. Get on my ships. The ships, unfortunately they all drowned. It sucks, but he tried to bring elephants. That's a dope ass character. We need to respect it. Anyway, what are you throwing away? So sorry.
You'll never believe it, but I'm throwing out House of the Dragon.
Okay.
I just watched it on Sunday. And I was like, oh, it's a show where everyone fights for the throne. I already watched that show. So.
Okay. Game of Thrones. Okay.
Erica.
Okay. The original
Erica,
series.
I'm throwing it about?
The original series was about the White Walkers. They were about saving the entire realm,
Uh-huh.
not necessarily sitting on the throne. The throne
So
was a vessel.
this is just a more minor storyline after I already saw the bigger one. It's like,
Yes, this is like a minor story from like 200 years ago. Yeah.
you know what? And look, I'm sorry. I liked Game of Thrones too. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. I was really into it for a while. I do not think it stuck the landing in the end. I'm glad that those two weirdos who were producing it are not producing it anymore. But I just, I just feel like I watched an hour of television that I'm like, oh, it's like all of those other hours of television I watched just with different people. Like this guy's like shitty Ned Stark. And then that
Who's
guy,
shitty Ned Stark?
whoever the king is currently, like that guy looks like shitty Ned Stark. And then there's
No!
and there's another bald guy, and then there's another guy that kind of looks like Sam is there. I'm like, okay, this one must be Daenerys. Like everyone looks the same.
Well, Daenerys is like
Daenerys
cousin, great, whatever. Okay.
and she's got the same attitude about things as Arya. Like, well, I'd rather be a knight. And I'm like, oh my God, I've seen this already. You know what I would have wanted to see is a sequel. Like, let me follow one of the characters I already know and care about. I don't need to see this prequel shit about where you're just arguing about things on a more minor level. And then the fact that they even still brought up the White Walkers thing at the end and then you watch the behind the episode, because I'm like, I need to know why the fuck I should care about what I just watched. So I watched the behind the episode, and they were like, oh, and then so and so brings up the Song of Ice and Fire of the White Walkers, which he doesn't realize that he has nothing to worry about, and that's not going to happen for another 200 years. And I'm like, then why did you put it in the fucking script?
Well,
Like,
it's to show that these people are so obsessed with, like, the whole reason that Aegon and his sisters came over, and that anybody can't, like, that anybody left with, like, okay, give me 30 seconds. So the
I've given you your time. I know, I'm throwing it out. Well, I'm like,
these people are really into prophecy, and it means a
my
lot.
God.
These people are really into prophecy, and it rules them in a big way. The Targaryens weren't even, they were dragon lords, which were like very important.
They're inbred weirdos with white hair. Next show. All right. Where do the people find you, Erica, to hear the rest of this? I won't hear it. I won't. Am I going to keep watching it? Of course I fucking am. But I don't, but I'm throwing it out anyways.
Okay, well, great. You can find me at Iconic Erica Curry on Instagram and at Gilligal on Twitter. And you can find me tomorrow morning for 50 minutes with my
Doxing me.
therapist, where I give it. And when he's like, I'd really like to dig into the relationship between, I'm like, no, I pay for this session. I will now give you a dissertation.
I will tell you why my friend and all the racists online are wrong about the House of Dragons.
And here's why it's important that the Targaryens weren't even that big of a deal in Valeria, because they were just kind of minor. They weren't even super
You can
important.
find me at Cass Cardenas on Instagram and Twitter, and you can find this podcast at Trashy Trashy Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at Trashy Trashy Podcast, at gmail.com. If you want to email us, tell us why you're trash, give us a story. We love it. Let us know some conspiracy theories that you like. Who knows? It's fun, right? Yes. And our website is trashytrashypodcast.com. Please reach out to Erica if you'd like to talk about Game of Thrones more. Leave us a 5-star review if you like the podcast. If you don't like the podcast, just stop listening.
Yes,
that's fine.
Yes, that's totally fine.
We love that. And that's it.
That's all. I'd love to see an anthology series about Essos, like just all.
Hey, Erica.
Okay. Yes.
What's? Yeah. You don't know my line, or is you're filling your head with all this Game of Thrones?
Sorry, you got me fired up. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. Hey, Cass.
What's going on, girl?
Stay garbage.
You stay garbage, girl.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.